Alright, so the update on the Black Widow, things are moving along, at least according to my bank account. May not look like much, but here's what's new. So me and Chris Birdsong, we did a little work on somebody else's charger. Actually his, come to think of it. But what we did also figure out was there was a 440 that we were selling. It was a forged crank 440, not a cast crank like I have. And a lot of my parts would interchange, but you know, not everything. Damper and other stuff won't, obviously, but the heads will. And he sold it to me, so I will be utilizing that 1970 high compression 440. I don't know how much life's in it, but it should be enough to have a little fun with the charger before we figure out other things. I was able to purchase a radiator, so you won't be looking at the police for too much longer. And I also purchased, outside of Chris, I had nothing to do with him, an 18 spline A833. So I have that. I have a bell housing. I have a decent lower with some life left in it. I have a drive shaft. You can see that right there. I was actually able to secure a 1970 Hurst shifter mechanism with the 1970 B-body pistol grip shifter, so that was cool. I still need the linkages for that. I also need to either fabricate some sort of clutch pedal or find one. If you know of one for a reasonable cost, let me know, for a B-body. My go-to is probably going to be using like a Willwood, either a triple or a dual master cylinder. The dual master cylinders half the cost, and then it's half the cost to retrofit it with actual bowl, or not bowls, with masters, because you know, 1 1/8 master off a 73 Corvette is going to be a lot easier to find than a couple, well, cheaper anyway, than a couple of masters for a Willwood. But that cost to be offset by a $90 proportioning valve, so you know, there's ups and downs to that. I'm gonna have to finish the cage, because I think this cage was placed in the car after the floor was cut out and then welded in with all that 1/4 inch plate and everything else. So yeah, there's still a lot going on with this car. A lot has been purchased. Obviously the car itself hasn't been touched, but there's been piles and piles of parts. I don't know if this 8 3/4 is any good. I'm just gonna have to figure it out, I guess. Get some U-joints. I still need those. So I have drive shaft. I have a 440, an 18 spline 4-speed. I have the 440 bell housing for an 11-inch clutch. I do have a decent 440. Still needs assembly, so I still need damper. I do have pulleys, but you know, it goes from there. What else do I need? So I'm gonna be needing wheels and tires eventually, or just tires for these wheels. But what I did in the meantime is I got some adapters from Ford to Chevy, and those wheels are a positive 15 millimeter offset, which means if I use a 25 millimeter adapter upcentric, I can actually use those tires. They got plenty of life on them until I figure out exactly what I want to do with this Dodge. So there's that. Yeah, radiator with electric fan. Came off of somebody's running project. They sold it to me. A 440. This time it's a 1970 high compression 440. A 4-speed. I don't have a clutch yet, so I need a clutch. I need the clutch pedal. I already have headers and some header mufflers, so I'm okay on that. I don't know if this rear end's any good. If it is, I'll use it. If it's not, I'll replace it. I'll have to figure something out. If it's not any good, then I'll replace it with a 9-inch. I'll be using my own brakes, of course, all around. So either the 13.2s, or I might get some Brembos, because they're under $100 per caliper, and the rotors are only $37. So there's a lot that I can still do. But there's a lot to do. I have a couple of racing seats. Ironically, they're in Hawaii because I was going to use them for something else. But in the interest of saving money and getting on the road quicker to go say hi to Chris Birdsong again, I'm just gonna grab those up as luggage next time I'm there and bring them back. I got a lot of work coming up, so unfortunately I don't know how much updates I'll be doing on this until I actually start working on it. But I am doing all the behind the scenes stuff to make it happen. So it is important. However, it's kind of boring, not video worthy. They're just boxes stacked up somewhere, you know. But it is what it is. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on what's going on with all this.